If you're ever in the need of replacing your NightHawk's cups because it's damaged or cracked or whatever, this video will guide you through that. Now before we get started, what you'll need is a plastic spudger and then a pH 1 bit as well as a pH 0 bit. First thing you're going to do is get the spudger under here and then just simply pry it up, and that will literally remove this from the cup itself. The next thing you'll want to do is to remove the pad. There's simply 4 tabs. Once you have the pad off, you're going to remove 4 screws, and this is where the pH 1 bit will come in handy. And once the 4 screws are off, you're going to replace the driver assembly. Just flip it over. Just be mindful of putting aside these 2 felt pads here. Keep that together and move it onto the side. Now the last thing you're going to want to do is to remove the grill, and this is where you want to swap out for the pH 0 bit. Once you get the 3 screws removed, go ahead and set the grill to the side and go ahead and find your replacement cup. Now the reason I'm replacing this is because of a crack that developed down here on the bottom of the right cup. Assembly is simply the reverse. However, you do have to be mindful of a few things. Now on this grill, you're going to notice that on one of these tabs there is that little indent there. So you're going to want to take that and face it upwards of the cup and then screw that back into the brass base connector. And here you can see it's back installed again with that little tab pointing up to the top of the cup. Now as for those 2 felt pads, you want to ensure that they match the screw holes. It can only go in one direction because these screw holes will only fit one way. If you flip it over, the screw holes will not match up. So just make sure again that the pattern matches precisely the screw holes. Now once you have that in place, you're going to carefully take the driver cup, make sure that this pad does not somehow get wedged underneath the driver, and then place it precisely. Also be a good time to check for any debris or here. Kind of looks like there was one there, got rid of that. And then you're going to try to estimate where the screw holes are and match it perfectly with the brass post underneath. Again, keep in mind that you don't want the felt backing to block any part of the driver. So give it an eyeball to make sure you can see all of the 4 brass posts, and then go ahead and switch back to your pH 1 bit and get those 4 screws back on. A tip is that as you're screwing these, don't screw it all the way tight, leave it slightly loose and get the other screws on first before you finally tighten up all of them. Because there is some minor play here, it'll allow you to align the screw holes precisely. And when you finally get that last screw on, that's when you could go ahead and tighten the rest of them all up. Now you'll simply want to put back on the pads. They simply just snap on. Then you're going to want to align this. This can only go on one way. Also be a good time to clean off any dust that you might have collected over here. So as mentioned, this pattern only goes on one way. Now what you'll notice is that there's a little tiny little indent or hole right there. And the retaining ring also has a matching hole that you want to line up, which is right there, along with some text there. So again, that will fit up and match that hole right up there. It's 3 tabs, just snap it into place one at a time. And that does it.